So the duality of this year has been incredible. It started off so, I don't want to say awful. It was not okay. And it was just because of my mind. My mind was so unkind to me. And sometimes your thoughts just creep in there and they make a home, you know? Once you get a hold of your thoughts and you get a hold of your mind, you can shape and shift your reality and you can shape and shift your life. I know the power of that now. As I approach 37 years old, I have a lot on my mind. I think it's important to always reevaluate the things that are important in your life so that you feel like you're in alignment with what you want out of your life. I've been doing that a lot lately, especially after the last year that I had. Jesse and I recently went to Washington State to celebrate our 9-year wedding anniversary. I have always felt pulled to go back to Washington, and I had my phone with me and I was watching the little blue dot cross over the line and move and move and move. I felt this sense of peace wash over me that I've never felt before when we crossed over the border. It was pretty wild. I remember looking out the window at all of the beautiful lush trees. There's a reason why that state is called the Evergreen State. It is beyond true. I don't get dinged in the head by an acorn. The air was so crisp and clear that I could breathe. I am currently surrounded by oak and walnut trees where I live. I'm allergic to both of them. I break out in hives every day. I can't breathe properly. When I was out there, I was able to hike. We are in Mount Rainier. There she is. We're on the Sunrise Rim Trail. And it is so nice out. We're actually kind of hot right now. It's 60 degrees, but we have full winter wear on. It's an incredibly beautiful day. It could not be nicer out right now. How you feeling so far?
Feels great, yeah. It's beautiful weather.
Mount Rainier Gym. Yes, it's great. Come here.
Oh, yeah.
You see it?
Sweet. Yeah, it is. Yep.
I was able to take big gulps of fresh air and breathe. I didn't break out in hives once. How did I spend my first day of October? At Mount Rainier National Park. Duh. It's one of those things where you think you have fresh air and then you go somewhere where there's actually fresh air and you're like, oh. When we told people we were going to Washington for our wedding anniversary, they were like, why? Why would you go to Washington? Why would you want to go to Seattle? Why would you want to visit a place where it's rainy and cold? And it actually rains more where we live now on the East Coast than it does all year in Washington. And all of the locals that we met told us that when it rains, it doesn't rain in buckets like it does here where we live on the East Coast. It kind of drizzles and things like that. And when we were out there, that's kind of what we experienced. We had 4 rainbows actually on that trip, which was pretty wild. Rainbow number 3! There were so many times on the trip when we were in Washington when Jesse and I looked at each other and we were like, this feels like home. Hi, buddy. Hi, little babies. And it felt like we were just going to grab a cup of coffee on a random Tuesday morning together, or taking a drive, or taking a walk, or going on a hike in the middle of a work day or on the weekend. And it just felt so right, and it felt so us to be there, because there are so many things about Washington that resonated with both of us individually and then also as a couple. Invigorated this part of our brains and our hearts and our souls, I guess you could say. Being able to see Mount Rainier from where we were staying every day was unbelievable. Being able to see Mount Rainier when you're driving down the highway, when you are in Seattle, when you're anywhere basically. We went 1,500 miles on this trip. Jesse drove 1,500 miles, I should say, because we had a very nice rental car and I was afraid to drive it, but also it was a new place, and I'm not a spastic driver, but we both just thought it would be a better idea for him to drive this trip because that's just how we work as a couple. We make a decision together as a couple. We went to Leavenworth.
Hey, bud.
We did the entire loop around Leavenworth. We drove the entire loop around Mount Rainier.
His little fat cheeks.
It went to Tacoma. We went to Bainbridge Island, which was one of our favorite places. Bainbridge Island was a dream. Right, I was just gonna say, if you don't know what's happening, they just look like rocks, but if you know they're hugging and they're kissing, that's so precious. Bainbridge Island is somewhere that I could see myself living one day. So if I ever disappear, check for me here. It is so beautiful here. I told him to just leave me, right? So we took the ferry over here from Seattle, and the ferry ride was wonderful. It's pretty walkable, I would say. Would you say it's pretty walkable?
Definitely.
He's nodding, yeah. He's right there on the... We were, as I was saying, we were going to walk, but there's people and now I'm embarrassed. What are you drinking, sir?
Got some Pegasus coffee, vanilla latte.
Look at this tree. This is incredible. Look in here. Right?
That's cool.
We went to Port Angeles and did a whale tour. It's October 2nd, and we are headed to Puget Sound today. I'm so excited. We just left Tacoma and stopped at the cutest little coffee shop ever. Had the best vegan breakfast sandwiches ever. How's your cookie butter latte, sir?
Oh my god, it's so good. I love
It literally tastes like a Biscoff cookie.
It's like a free diver here.
One female orca that we saw was 40 years old, older than me. When we came back to New Jersey, we went on a whale watching tour in Cape May.
These are compared to our tooth whales. These are nice size and both dolphins. Even for which once again is a special continues to play our role.
And I got to see a humpback whale, which is at the top of my bucket list. I still tear up when I think about it. I can't believe it. We saw the comet, the Atlas comet, and we saw Northern Lights. Jesse and I drove to Cape May to see the Northern Lights. Oh my god. We just finished eating our burritos and we look outside the car. Oh my god. All within the same week and a half. I was ready to go to Alaska to see Northern Lights and to see whales, and I got to see both of my top bucket list items right here where we are. It was incredible. I got to meet one of my longest YouTube friends in person finally, Lena. She is an incredible painter here on YouTube. If you don't know who she is, you should check her out. I'll link her below. But she painted me, and a lot of people think that her painting is a photo, which shows you how good she is. Her and her husband are incredible people, and we went on a hike at Pratt Balcony together.
Glowing moss.
So pretty. I love those little moss branches.
Who you choose as a life partner is going to be the difference between whether you can weather storms and whether you're going to come out of them stronger, or if you're going to just crack under the pressure. And I don't know how I would be right now if it wasn't for Jesse. Jesse was taking such good care of me, but it got to the point where it was just out of his area of expertise. He didn't have the tools he needed anymore to be able to handle what I was dealing with. So we went to a doctor, and I saw the doctor, diagnosed me with chronic insomnia, severe anxiety. I went to therapy for the first time in my life. I researched the shit out of the therapists that were offered to me through the hospital that I went to. So glad that I chose the right one because she was incredible. I wasn't sure what to expect. I was a little nervous about it because I had all these things I wanted to talk to her about, but I know the focus was just to get that anxiety to a place where I could control it so that I could sleep again. After we introduced ourselves to each other and things like that, she said, "Elizabeth, have you ever been to therapy before?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Why is that, you think?" And I said, "I just don't think that my problems are worthy of a professional's time. I think there's people out there who need it more than I do." She goes like this, I just learned something about you already. I said, oh God, what? She's like, you don't think you're worth my time. You don't think what you're going through, all of the things that live in your heart, all of the burdens and all the weight you carry and the things that are on your mind, you don't think that that's worth someone's time, a professional's time to listen. You don't think you're worth it. And I've always been that way, where I compare myself to everybody else. It's rooted in the core belief system. Therapy was an incredible resource for me. I wish I would have went much sooner in my life. Learned so many useful tools in therapy. All stemmed from a place of mindfulness. I learned about the part of your brain that is reptilian, that is constantly in fight or flight, which I've been in fight or flight my whole life apparently. I had a hunch that's what it was, but when it was confirmed by my therapist, it made a lot of sense to me, because the reptilian part of your brain that just is always kind of, I hate the word, but triggered, exercise that part of my brain and logically think of situations instead of always just being on the attack and trying to be 10 steps ahead and overanalyzing and overworrying and overstressing. You know, when you're told things as a child that shape and shift your reality of what you believe is truth, and then you find out when you're older that it might not be so true, it's hard to deal with, because you realize that the reality that you thought was truth was rooted in someone else's version of what reality was. This year, Jesse and I also saw a solar eclipse. We drove last minute to Ohio to stay with our friends who were expecting their first baby. So we thought they were going to say no, but they were like, yeah, come on, we would love to have you. It's so dark. Oh my God, here it comes. Oh my God, it's a tiny little sliver. Oh my God.
Sliver.
Oh my goodness.
We're here.
Oh my God, look at the sky. Holy
Holy
Oh
cow.
my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, look at that.
Look at that.
Oh my God, that's the... Oh my God, that's so pretty, dude. I'm gonna cry. The duality of this year has been incredible, right? Because it started off so, I don't want to say awful, but I was not okay. I couldn't see the light. I felt kind of dead inside, because when you're not sleeping, your brain can't think properly, and everything just seems like it has a dark cloud over it. And here we are in October, the end of October, and I have so much joy and love and life that was compacted into this last year. This was a part of my life where I felt like I couldn't dig out of a hole. And it was just because of my mind. My mind was so unkind to me, and it was because I was unable to sleep because of the anxiety. You know, it's just a vicious cycle. And once you get a hold of your thoughts and you get a hold of your mind, you can shape and shift your reality, and you can shape and shift your life. And I know the power of that now. I used to be the person who would share these memes like, just choose happy thoughts. I didn't know the weight of that, of how silly and naive that was to say. And sometimes your thoughts just creep in there and they make a home, you know? I learned a lot about myself and my spirit and my grit and my heart and my ability to withstand things in life this year. I always say, you're such a positive person to be around. You're so uplifting. You're so warm. Your energy's wonderful. Kind of makes me feel like an imposter sometimes, because I know I've been through this hard, difficult time. But like Jesse always tells me, part of a bad day doesn't mean you had a bad day. It just means you had a crappy moment in a good day. I'm just beside myself with gratitude this year. The thing I love about life is that nothing is set in stone. I've never been the kind of person who just wants to settle, not physically settle, but just who settles for what currently is. I'm always thinking of ways to grow and to adapt and to learn and to experience new ways of life and to better myself as a person and to enrich my time alive. I feel so excited about potential futures for myself that I never thought were possible before, didn't even consider before, because I'm just used to what is. Just because what you currently have is satisfying doesn't mean that you can't reach or strive for something even better. And that's how I've always wanted to live my life. I always wanted to just kind of reach out past a little bit more of what is comfortable to the other side of fear.
Super duper fly girl, she's the cutest girl that you've ever known. When you're home alone and you're really bored, I know that doesn't really rhyme, then you know you should subscribe.
Okay, this is a reading from The Office Mad Libs, Michael's Leadership Philosophy. These are Lizzy's answers. 929, Treehouse Point, Washington. People say I am the best flower picker. They go, we've never worked in a place like this before. You're glorious, and you catapult the best of us. At Thunder Mifflin, we work quickly, we jump hard. Sometimes we play hard when we should be exposing hard. I guess the atmosphere that I've created here is that I'm a friend first, and a flight attendant second, and probably an entertainer third. After all, what's the most important thing for a company? Is it the doorway flow? Is it the inventory? Nuh-uh. It's the elevators. My proudest moment here was not when I increased profits by 3% or when I cut expenses without losing a single fortune teller. No, 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 no. It was a radiant guy. He came to me. He said, Mr. Henderson, would you be the godfather of my firefly? Woohoo! Woohoo! Too bad it didn't work out in the end. We had to let him play. He enjoyed.
Are we on? Are we doing it? Okay, here we are. This is Mad Libs for Jesse. 9:29, Treehouse Point. 9:12 p.m. The Finer Things Club. Pam loves being a member of the Strong Things Club. It gives her the chance to listen to classic cars by composers like Keanu Reeves, and to sip pineapple juice while discussing the deeper meanings found in classic motorcycles. Too bad the club's table is near the office running machine and the microwave guitar. Here's her description of the club. Oscar, Clown, and I are the skipping members of the Finer Panda Bears Club. We roll once a month to discuss backpacks and art and to dance culture in a very vibrant way. Sometimes the debate can get fuzzy, but we're always vivacious. There is no hammer, no plastic, and no bicycle talk allowed. It's very exclusive.